All right, Olivia Ferney, thank you so much for joining me. You're a travel expert, accommodation specialist. What would you describe your actual role?
Therapist to most.
Therapist. I like that one.
um, yeah, oh yeah. I consider myself. Most people just use the term travel agent. Kind of depends on what you're coming to me for. I would say 99% of the people I work with, I'm an accommodation specialist. So I help people save money on five-star hotels, luxury villas, jets, helicopters, all that fun stuff. And then I have a very, very small group of clients that are a part of my Concierge Plus program that pay yearly. And for them, I help with all of the traditional travel agent stuff.
All right, and how you got there. So you grew up in a small town in Canada.
I
Talk
did.
about that and how, like, what led you into this profession?
So many things. So many things. How did I end up
I know
here?
that's a loaded question there.
Yeah, that is a loaded question. So I grew up, yeah, very small farm town, Dundas, Ontario. Type of place that people get pregnant and married by the time they're 19 years old. And I started spending a lot more time in Toronto when I was just heading into university and started kind of figuring out what I was going to try and do with my life. I've always been very good at marketing. I've always loved marketing and sales classes and stuff like that. So I started a marketing company, and during COVID, it kind of exploded and started doing very well. So I built out a team, and had a couple great years under that marketing company. And I think it was time to move on to the next project. About 2 years ago, and I was spending some time in Miami with some old and current clients, just kind of helping them with production stuff, just same old, just marketing consulting. And I landed in Miami again 1 year and met Troy Arnold, who's the owner of Top Tier Travel, the company I now work with. And he was just explaining how it worked. Like, it sounds like this insane business. He had done incredibly well for himself. He was dealing with these crazy people all the time, making great money. And it was just something very cool. I love travel. It all made sense. So I kind of shoved my way into that business. I was like, you're going to hire me. You do zero marketing right now. Let me show you what I can do. And then lo and behold, he hired me, and I was working for him for like 6 months. And then we started doing the calls. We just had an idea one day. And we started filming these crazy client calls, and it exploded. And now the business is just at all-time highs. We're looking at doubling numbers from last year already this year. So it's been a hell of a ride, that's for sure.
So when you first moved to Miami, then you essentially were in marketing. You had your marketing company. And was getting into travel ever a thing for you, or just kind of fell into it, like you just mentioned?
Super, super fell into it. Yeah. I mean, I think everything happens for a reason, clearly here in this scenario, especially, but yeah, really, really fell into that one. Didn't expect it. I love to travel. I've always been jumping around whenever I can, but now I get the opportunity to almost hate travel because I'm doing it so much, which is such a,
I was
I'm
going to
on
ask
the
that
road
eventually, yeah.
8 months a year. Oh yeah. It's crazy. It's
And I also
crazy.
read that when you were younger, you used to collect hotel keys. So was that kind of a sign of the future for you?
I feel like that's normal. Like, people, maybe not. I've always collected hotel keys. I've always kept them, just like, I thought they were too valuable to be throwing away, but it's just a piece of plastic. But I'm sure I have, like, my purse now. Oh my God, if you ever are around me and I fall, because I'm a very clumsy lady, there's just like hundreds of hotel keys that fall out of my purse every time. It's
I was
not
going to say,
lipsticks, hotel
yeah, like
keys,
I think if they're like unique and they actually have like a hotel brand on them, they're cool. But if they're just like your standard,
right?
Holiday Inn or Hilton cards, it's like they all look
Oh
alike.
God.
At least all the
Luckily, we're in
places
the
I stay.
luxury space, so we do actually have quite a cool collection of hotel keys. I would love to get one from all the five-star spots and make like a giant mural in my office or something that's just like a big picture made out of keys. I think that would cost $500,000 to commission somebody for, but one day, one day I will get it done.
Someday.
Someday, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you're really busy and you kind of profile your whole life on TikTok and Instagram, which I want to get to. But first, what is like a typical day for you?
Not very exciting. I hate to break it to everyone. They're like, you must have this incredible life. I do. And I live in Miami, so my Sundays are spent on yachts, and I do get to go to a lot of cool events and everything. But I work 20 hours a day, and I sleep four of them, and I am on my laptop or my cell phone for like 18 of them. We're very, very busy, and same as social media portrays, everybody's always got this crazy stuff going on. If I'm traveling, I'm on my phone, in the car. Even when I'm out on boat days, I'm usually on my phone dealing with somebody's shenanigans or trying to get something done. So I definitely work a ton.
So if the phone
Definitely.
rings during our chat, then I'll know yeah, that it's a client call coming in.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so it's busy. Yeah, I kind of liken it to like $1 million listing in LA or New York, where they're like always on the phone and driving around and
That's
traveling
yeah,
around.
that's pretty
Anything
much
to make a
exactly
deal,
what I do. Exactly. That is exactly what it's like.
And so you mentioned it. So basically, you just came up with this whole like video idea of posting these calls to TikTok. Essentially, it
Mhm.
blew up pretty quickly. But before that, I mean, obviously, this was always a business, but it just wasn't profiled on social media. Uh,
Correct. Yeah. And Troy's very hush hush, I think, with the type of clientele that we deal with, ultra high net worth celebs, artists, talent, all that stuff. We're NDA'd like crazy. We have some incredible stories that will stay in my lockbox, until the day I'm buried in the ground.
Shoot, I was hoping you were
So
going to spill some today.
everybody asks that question. They're
I'm
like, come
sure. Yeah,
on.
that's $1 billion question, right?
That is the $1 billion question. But yeah, it definitely it's always been an incredible business, but Troy has kept it on the DL, I think, for his entire career being in travel. And I came in and just said, nope, we're going to change that. I think the world deserves to see some of this stuff for sure. And it's incredible. Funny enough, it actually was his idea, as much as I would love to take credit, it was his idea to do the first call. We both got off the phone and it was just like one of those, oh, holy shite, what a brutal moment over the phone. It was like 20 minutes of berating about something that had happened. He's like, we need to find a way to record this. And I think it might have even been just as a way to like send it to our friends to, kind of explain what we're dealing with. Because
Yeah, because you
sometimes
probably
it's not
tell
even
these
a
stories, but
client,
yeah, yeah. If you,
right?
yeah, you're
Like
like, if
it'll
you
be
could only have heard this
random,
call. Yeah.
some random personal call that's not even a client of mine and think that they can just like disrespect us and say all these things and demand all these things. And, we're like, some people just say the most ridiculous things. So yeah, and we started recording them, and then within 4 months, we're now at like 400, almost 500,000 followers. It's been nuts. So
Is
been
there
crazy.
like a balance though of what you'll post out there? I read that obviously you don't post everything out there, but it's a small percentage.
Very tough.
Yeah, so I guess like how then do you balance like that being able to tell the story without telling details of the story or all the whole
Right.
story? Yeah.
I think there's just so much of it happening. Like I don't know if people will realize, but we have like a constant wait list of 2,500 new clients. Like every time we get it down, it's right back up there. And that's just like a rotating list. Even if we're ripping through 500 people one day, like it's just back up. It's thousands and thousands of people at all times. And again, even if these are not people that we're closing with, and they're just random people, these are still stories that we can share unless we're contracted. So there's so much stuff happening. People are like, you're gonna run out of content. You post all the time. I'm like, we're really not. There are billions of people out here that are hilarious and are doing funny things on the phone every day. So we're definitely not running. We're not running short on content.
Has that helped you gain clients? Like have some clients been like, "Oh, I saw you, on TikTok. I want to work with you." And yeah, I don't
You
care
wouldn't
how ridiculous I
believe. You
am,
would
post it,
not
right?
believe.
I feel like it
Yes,
with these
I
people.
get so many of those. So many people call and are like, "Oh, somebody finally understands." And I'm like, "Oh God, okay, that's not a great way to start." People are like, "I feel heard now." I'm like, yeah, we'll of course deal with those people always. And one of the sad things about this is like I have so many rock star clients, and even some of my most difficult clients are freaking rock stars. They're so nice, they're so kind. They just have moments of being very particular, and they're interesting folks. And you know, those things just they happen. Even if you're the nicest person in the world, if you and I go to Applebee's and have a bad experience, I might act like that. It's just at a different scale, so it's easier for people to make fun of things that they might not necessarily understand, I think. um, but yes, yeah, people are very interested, and even some clients want to get on the calls now, which has been very very interesting. I've had two new clients that are like, "Hey, I'm on
That's
the
fun.
helicopter. Like, can you FaceTime me right now?" They really want to video. It's epic. It's so funny.
Yeah, and you manage up to what 20 bookings a day sometimes. So like how do you balance all of that?
Yeah, we have a team. We have a team that helps with all the bookings and the concierge stuff. And again, Troy and I are just working 24/7 all the time. But we have a reservations team that kind of helps funnel through all of those bookings because it can definitely be a lot. Some days are, we take it a little bit slower and just do a couple, and then some days it's nuts and it can be way above 20. It gets crazy.
Yeah. And you do, obviously you mentioned earlier that you do a lot of traveling. Is a lot of that like just scouting like different hotels and getting a vibe for it so you know where to book clients so they can be
Oh
like,
yeah.
this place is, it's got cockroaches in it, and be like, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, thank God. Again, we're working in such a luxury space that everywhere I stay tends to be very, very nice. But sometimes things happen. Like there'll be a random hotel chain that's a 5 star. I won't like name names, but if I go to Turks and I'm testing out a few different spots, and like one of them is a 5 star and they just haven't redone it in 10 years, it really, really needs a facelift. But that stuff's good for me to know because could have seen it 5 years ago, and online the ratings are all still good, but without doing it in person, it's like you have to check your inventory with stuff like this. And especially with the amount of money people are spending, if you spend $60,000 on a vacation and the right type of food isn't available, or they can't accommodate to your allergies, they have a certain type of bed sheet, like those types of those pieces of information are very, very important to me. Like do or die level of important to me. So I have to be trying out new stuff all the time.
Yeah, because your career is obviously dependent on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So then in that case, because you have such a large following, are, some of the hotels like noticing you now? I almost feel like, when you see a show and it's like, oh, there's a food critic in the restaurant, and the chef knows that food critic, it's like, let's impress. So,
Well, funny enough, we spent the last like month and a half actually. I've been slowing down a lot. I went home to go see my family, so I've been in Canada basically on the lake for the last couple of weeks, and then we're kind of like sitting. It's right before hot season, right before all the events, the travel, everything goes crazy. So we've been chilling down. It's funny, like I didn't even really realize that my name's getting out there. And now when I go in public, people are starting to recognize me and hotels are starting to reach out like crazy. So I think as we get back into the regular programming of my life this year, it's going to be very interesting to see, do we get preferential treatment when we go there? Is it going to be hard for us to like secret shop now? Because I don't know if I'm going to be getting those like legitimate experiences as much when they know, oh shit, that's Liv. Like we need to make sure that it's amazing because she's probably going to be posting about it. So that'll be very interesting to see how the rest of this year kind of plays out for
yeah, I
sure.
was gonna say, yeah, because you showed up in my feed, and I was like, man, this is interesting. I could like, doom scroll through all these videos all day. And I think, like you mentioned earlier, about the Applebee's, like people complain, but it's just on a different level. I think that's probably, maybe you would agree with this, that how people relate to your videos. They're following you on TikTok. Then you mentioned in an article that saving like $300, $1,000 on a booking, maybe it's like on a non-refundable booking, like that
Mm.
excites somebody who even is a billionaire, which I think most people at home would be surprised about that.
You know what? That actually was one of the most surprising things for me as well. I was actually shocked by that, is how many wealthy people are like penny savers. It's hilarious because but everybody likes saving. That's fair. If, I get tricked all the time. If I go into a store, something's not even really on sale. It's a couple cents off, but I'll still buy that brand because I saw the little X with the red number underneath it, right? Consumer purchasing decisions are all made based off of like, if we see those sales, people get very, very excited about that. So no matter what financial level you're at, people are still making the same decisions based off of the sale. So it's definitely been really, really funny to watch people argue over that. The non-refundable thing is a nightmare for me. I am so strict about this. You are booking a $100,000 vacation, saving the $1,000 by booking non-refundable for a trip 6 months out is not a fun conversation to have because I don't understand it. And they really want to save the money. But the problem is, I know you're going to call me in a month and want to change the dates by a day. And non-refundable, even with a travel agent, means non-refundable. There is nothing you can do. I don't know why people don't understand this, but it's like signed on the dotted line. There is nothing that could be done. You could break your leg like 24 hours before, and unless you have travel insurance, there's nothing you can do. So that's always a brutal conversation to have with people that are worth $1 billion when they want to save $400. But happens all the time.
So it's not the 50% of your previous booking. Like, at least that's the way I know when you book a car or flight. Yeah.
No, we're very there are certain reservations, like if you book sometimes at a super luxe property like an Amman property, there will be, even with a regular booking, if it is a refundable booking, you might still lose like 5% of your booking if you wait until 31 days or something before. Sometimes there are certain contractual things that don't allow us to give like the full refund, but I would say most of the time it's pretty black and white for us. It's either refundable or it's absolutely not refundable. Zero movement to be made there.
And are there particular seasons that are busier than others? And do you have you ever focused like on particular events, like say the Super Bowl or a big film festival or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's one of the coolest things about my job is I am like VIP all the way with all of these events. Like we get to go on fields, we get to, get paddock passes for F1s. We get to fly private with a lot of our clients to these spots. It's like the coolest thing is the experience level. And we get to sell all of it as well. So not only am I attending, but I get to watch people spend like $2 million on F1 or $2 million on Super Bowl or $2 million on live golf and like all these crazy epic events, and people are just balling out as much as they can every year, like up the experience, because you have so much money. That's all you can do is just continue to try and experience new things that other people haven't done yet. So that part's very, very cool.
And is it more competitive, like work, like those events, because maybe you're competing with others in your field, like as like booking a premier room or stay or what have you?
Depends on where we are in the world. I think there's certain spots like we dominate in Vegas and Miami, and I would say are two big hotspots for us. So when the Super Bowl was in Vegas, that was like we were the person you went to if you were getting any sort of luxury hotels, bookings, packages for tickets. Like you knew who we were and you were coming to us, and we were doing millions and millions of dollars in revenue for that Super Bowl. Whereas when it's in like New Orleans last year, that's not a hotspot for us. We don't normally send clients there. And the inventory is not nearly as good. Like a 5-star Four Seasons in New Orleans is closer to like a 4 or 3-star anywhere else, just because they're not, built out for that kind of event, even though they had the Super Bowl there a couple times. But
Yeah, not
either way,
knocking New Orleans.
yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
kidding. Yeah.
So it definitely is interesting when competitors come into place, but a lot of these places are like full concierge businesses, I would say. So we have a lot of indirect competitors, but I don't know a ton of people that do exactly what we do. Where it gets interesting is like ticketing, but we have epic partners that are same high level as us. They crush, they execute every single time. So it's nice when we get to partner up with them and we're like, hi, this is a monopoly now. Everybody is going to have to funnel through us. So that's really fun for the event based stuff for sure.
Yeah. And is there any like good tip you can give us for someone traveling, whether it's luxury or just, for the everyday traveler, like, how to get a free upgrade, something like that?
Yes, I know. There's, fly a lot, collect your points. We sure do.
The points guy, that's how it all started,
Points.
right?
Yes.
The
Lots
points
of
guy.
people that do that. Lots of people that do that. That's how it all started. Um, it's so tough. I think my biggest piece of advice for people is like book in advance. I don't know why we're still trying to do this whole like I had a call the other day and somebody was like, "Oh, well, my trip's in 2 weeks. Like, can't you get me a discount?" I'm like, "Well, no. First off, flights are increasing every single day. So do not wait until the night before to get your flight. Your $200 flight is going to be an $1,800 flight because you waited. So just if you think you're going to go, book a non-refundable, book it 8 months out. Just get it on the books because you're going to save money. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know why we're waiting so last minute. Unless you're booking like a crazy one of one suite in, Vegas. Let's say like there's these crazy suites at the Palms that are $15,000 a night. This beautiful like 2-story private pool, private basketball suite. Rooms, and if they happen to have that open, then there might be some negotiating that we can do because like no one's in the room. But if it's like a big weekend and there happens to be a concert that weekend, we're screwed. Inventory's down. It's like you got to be ready and book in advance. That would be my golden words of advice.
All right. That's good. And where do you see yourself next, like in business and in life? Still doing this, expanding, obviously you've gained success on social. So does that help, build your brand out into other avenues of, maybe beyond luxury travel to other aspects of that particular industry?
Yeah, excited to let the universe kind of guide me through the next year and see. I'm trying to sit back and let it all unfold and see where we end up. I mean, that's how we got here in the first place. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're looking into some very cool opportunities in like the TV space and lots of epic brand partnerships where I might actually be more included in some of these major world events, like as a rep. We're doing interesting partnerships like that. So we're kind of just sitting back and waiting to see what happens. Our business is going to continue to hopefully grow over the next couple of years, and we'll see where that takes us. We have some really exciting tech stuff that we'll be releasing in the next 6 months. Especially, we do a lot of like B2B work. So nightlife people, EAs, chief of staff, lots of people that are booking travel for people in the luxury space book through us because we help kind of coordinate all of it, make it seamless for them. So we're trying to build out some platforms that will hopefully help make that entire process seamless, and also help us make it easier, help us kind of expand globally as well.
Yeah, make it like a one-stop shop for everything.
Yes.
Everything luxury.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes
Exactly.
sense. So what advice would you give to somebody that would want to follow in your footsteps, maybe a younger self, if you could go back or what have you?
That's a tough question too. I think one of the biggest things that I wish I would have known a couple years ago, and it's very frustrating, is just like how much of a blessing failure is. I have, I've been very lucky, I think, to have two careers that have gone very, very well. And I've been able to kind of move when I want to move and how I want to. But before that, like, I have tried to launch many businesses and many of them have failed. I have been screamed at and yelled at and fired and all the things 100 times over. And I've failed so many times that when I speak to people in their 40s, they're like, damn, that's actually quite a lot of time that you've spent failing. Like, yes, because I throw myself into everything, because I have zero worry about falling flat on my face. I just think if you can fail 800 times before you're 20, that's going to put you in a much better position to finally find something that sticks by the time you're 21, 22. Whereas if you're always like just waiting and not taking those risks and being really scared to fail, then like you might not hit your 51st failure, which is the one that's going to be the successful one, until you're in your 50s or 60s, which no problem with that. Lots of amazing and successful people have started businesses when they're, in their later years. And I think if you want to get to it faster, though, the best way to do it is just keep trying, keep learning, and take failure as like such a blessing.
Yeah, like Mark Cuban says, you only need to be right once.
Bingo.
Yeah, bingo.
That's it. And that different people have different amounts of failure in their life, I think, too. Like, I might have had 56, somebody might have 204, and the crypto kid down the street who just made 2 million at 14 had 0.
Those kids annoy me. They're my neighbors. No. Well, last question. Do you ever have a day off? Like, do you ever actually take an official day off, like turn off your phone, maybe get off the computer and just like,
No.
maybe not. And I was gonna say maybe travel, but you do that. So maybe like not travel, just like stay home and Netflix or whatever.
Sometimes guilty pleasure, I'm like a huge brain rot TV person. So I would love, like, once in a while, if I really am getting too overwhelmed, because I'm not going to pretend like I don't experience burnout, because I do. I just work through it like a sociopath, which is not healthy. But occasionally when it's really getting bad, I'm feeling anxious, like, I had 2 bad deals last week or something, and I'm pissed off, I will brain rot and watch like hours of Real Housewives on the TV. Like, that is my Sunday off. I will do some like fresh pressed juice and order some food and just like sit and watch 18 hours straight of reality television. And then I'm like, all right, let's go. But my laptop is usually on me during those 18 hours. So I will still work a little bit, but
all right,
that's my ideal day off.
Never a full day off then. I still can't.
Never a full day. Without my phone for 24 hours would possibly put me into like cardiac arrest.
All right, so maybe that's the part of Liv's life you don't see, is the binge watching. Yeah.
The binge watching, correct. Yeah.
Well, Liv, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it, and best of luck to you in your career. And I'll keep watching you and following you. You're very entertaining.
Thank you so much, Larry. Thanks for the time. It's great chatting.